Alright, so guys, back to the Davis Cup history. Barbarian lost one match. It was during the Davis Cup 4 against Maya in a final stage round robin. Maya having won 3-1 against Barbarian, and a few weeks later Barbarian had its revenge, beating Maya in the grand final 4-2. After this, Barbarian lost few games, 10 games if I'm right, in 148 games, sorry. So it's just crazy. And what makes this match against Immortal so special is the fact that it's the first time Barbarian is not considered as the favorite. At least it's difficult to predict what is gonna happen. But I think that everything is possible against Immortal. And if we look at the betting challenge, I noticed that many of us think that Immortal can beat Barbarian. It was interesting to see that TheMaximalBeing himself thinks that Immortal will win 4-0 against Barbarian. So this is scary, I would say. And it's definitely time to start the show. I'm gonna put some music, but I will care with okay. Hello, Randy. Hello, Toto. First time I see Toto around, so you're welcome. So it's gonna be 4 games played, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 in random versus team random. I put cheat engine one times the speed, so it's as if I didn't use cheat engine, so it might be okay. And it will be fast speed in game. So as Toto said, let's go. I need capture rage here. And okay. So let's go, man. Britain versus Britain. That's gonna be the civilizations. I would say that Barbarian does have a great map with 2 large forests, the gold in the back, so is the berries, and the map is more open for Immortal. Okay, so I just put fast speed in game. So what I like with Immortal is the fact that it plays quite differently compared to the other AIs. It is really strong, but at the same time it's very conservative. So it's not an AI which will kick ass its opponent. It takes its time and it grows, and then at the end it's just unbeatable in my opinion. Let's see what's gonna happen against Barbarian. And in its previous match against Snake, its kill ratio was just amazing. Especially that 4 versus 4, in which it killed a lot of units while it lost like 6, 7 or 10 units only after a 1 hour game. So as Breton we can expect an archery rush from Barbarian. With other civilization we can see scout rush, drush, but as Breton I would be surprised if it doesn't go for archers plus skirmishers. So Immortal picked its closest forest for its lumber camp. And it does make a good use of its second forest, which can be considered in the back compared to the enemy's TC position. And I like the position of the lumbercamp Barbarian side, pretty safe. Do you guys hear me, or I'm just talking for nobody, or for my cat, which is next to me? Oh, maybe it's behind in villagers because of Loom? I don't know, let me check.
Yay?
Yes, it's because of Loom. Well, no, both have Loom at this point. Immortal is having less villagers than its opponent because it's already researching Feudal Age, and we've got a man-at-arm rush. Okay, interesting. So maybe Barbarian opened with a drush and then go for some archers, I guess. But it definitely can be a good move. Immortal having a less good map compared to Barbarian.
Yay? Grayton?
Okay, so at this point Barbarian needs to create some idle villagers. At least it's creating some trouble for Immortal, but so as expected, we've got two outer ranges each side. And for having its 3 men-at-arms alive, I mean militians, it would be good to upgrade them in men-at-arms. Okay, I would say that this drush was a success overall. Let me check the economy each side. It's pretty even, but a small advantage for Immortal, which to have more wood at this point. Does red have fletching? Yes, it does. Okay, so we've got a sneaky move from Barbarian. That could be interesting on the gold miner, while Immortal is keeping its units far from its resources for some reasons. Well, this move needs to be a success, because Immortal is not far from researching Castle Age. So here we go. Well, I don't know why it does build this mining camp. Oh, that's sad to see that Barbarian didn't punish Immortal for this mining camp. So, Barbarian does have the military advantage, but we should see elite skirmishers or crossbows soon from Immortal. And Barbarian needs 1 minute more. Well, Immortal does have less villagers but already 2 TCs. Well, looking at the kill ratio, we see that Immortal is playing pretty safe with its villagers, trying to not lose anyone. And at the same time we've got eventually the first assault from Immortal. It's sad to see that it delayed a bit too much its upgrades for its army. And we've got the precious elite skirmishers upgrade. But here we can come. Okay, the TC was built just at time. And I'm scared that Immortal is gonna attempt to build this TC. It should be deleted. Well, Barbarian is playing fine, while Immortal is keeping booming with 2 TCs. The kill ratio is pretty the same, but Barbarian managed to have twice more military population than its opponent. So the game is turning an attack defense. And we've got 3 TCs for Barbarian against 2 TCs. And let's say that the 3rd TC is eventually gonna be built. Barbarian has a siege workshop. It could have been interesting to see a ram at this point regarding the military population advantage. Well, this skirmishers is doing a great job. Yes, Immortal won this battle just with a great micro. It looks like Barbarian doesn't have elite skirmishers anymore, or maybe just a few. This monk will die. Oh, ballistic for Barbarian. That's gonna be pretty important. And the civilian population is the same. But Immortal does have 4 TCs at this point. Okay, elite skirmishers is eventually researched for Immortal. And we've got a pretty decent economy management each side. Okay, one castle in the front, we've got Rams, we've got Immortal researching Imperial Age, and we've got a pretty decent army. Barbarian needs to go Imperial Age. I think that this battle is gonna be the decider of this game. At least Barbarian does have ballistic now. That might help. Well, this move is gonna hurt a lot. And we've got Arbalest, which is already researched. Well, it was a great move from Immortal. Oh, here is a second great move. That's already a dozen of villagers dead. And the kill ratio is now clearly at the advantage of Immortal. And this castle push is great. Oh well, I think that Barbarian lost its TC, which was researching Imperial Age. That hurts a lot. Okay, for some reasons Immortal joined some militians. It probably, yes, deleted a lot of villagers to grow its army. Yeah, it does train some militians. Well, good job Immortal. That was impressive. Okay, so it was an even game till Immortal started researching Imperial Age. What hurt a lot was the fact that Barbarian lost its TC, which was researching Imperial Age. Okay, so here we go for the second game, 2v2. Korean plus Persian. And it's gonna be Korean versus Korean side, Persian against Persian other side. And I don't like the map for the yellow player. At least we've got a large forest in the back, but it's really far from the TC. The closest forest is around a lake. Nothing good. Gold is in the front. Red map is not great, but at least it's better than yellow's one. Yeah, so here, concerning the map, I would say that we've got an advantage for Barbarian. Oh, red is stealing one boar and two ships, but fortunately blue does have very close deers. Okay, so it was a great achievement from red. And I hope that green is gonna find this boar. And it looks like yellow did have, well, it did lose one villager. I don't know how. Oh yes, here we see the bone. Okay, so here we go for the drush as Persian. Unfortunately, when you play Barbarian in the definitive edition, this strategy doesn't work. At least it does have some bugs, but in up, Barbarian does drush efficiently. Oh boys. The game just crashed. Okay, that's sad. Well, Elephant, the game just crashed, and I don't know the reason why it happened. So I need to restart. Well, I will restart the 2v2. And I will pick the same civilizations, which were Persian plus Korean. And we will need to hope that it won't happen anymore. Fortunately, it happened after 10 minutes of the game. Well, now yellow does have a better map than before. Yeah, me neither. Water. In case it happens again, I would say that it would be something from Immortal, because I don't see the good old Barbarian crashing. Okay, so let's forget this accident and let's hope that everything is gonna be fine this time. So it's gonna be Korean versus Korean on the side, Persian against Persian on the side, like the game which just crashed. And Immortal is pretty fast in exploring the enemy. Look at Yellow, which is already around, scouting around Green TC. And ooh, okay. I thought that the scout will try to block the villager. That would have been a great move. And we can expect another rush from Green, but Yellow did see the early barrack. Well, I'm scared that it's gonna be hard for Green to attack Yellow, which do have the two lumber camp in the back, so is the mill. Let's see. Well, Green didn't explore much its opponent's map, but the scout is scouting in the good direction. Okay. We've got a target for the Drush. Here we go, Barbarian.
Judy.
Well, this time Yellow does have a great map. There is nothing much to do here for Green. Oh, interesting, we've got men at arms. Well, Immortal does have the good behavior, responding with villagers, while the skirmishers and archers are targeting. So overall, the early game is clearly at the advantage of Immortal. Oh, red is targeting green. Or maybe it was just the unit selected to explore. Yep. Well, that's already a scary military population. That is a great move. And at least Immortal knows how to move far from the enemy's tower. And I think that it's not a good timing for Green, which sends its army to protect Blue. Well, this is a disaster for Barbarian, this 2v2. And it's a nice use of the hill here. And Red is not too far from researching Castle Age after having made a lot of damage on Blue. Well, those skirmishers are like unbeatable. And they go back home after having done the job. Oh, I didn't see this move from Green. Well, I guess that green probably did kill like 10 villagers on yellow. This can explain why it does have way less villagers than red. But with already 3 TCs, it's taking a huge advantage on green. Well, I think that green is too shy. It does have the military advantage to push its opponents, while it does have way less villagers. And at least Barbarian needs ballistic. And I would like to see a siege workshop. Okay, so Immortal are both researching Imperial Age. Well, the castle positions are just great for yellow. And green eventually managed to research Imperial Age. It just needs this castle to up. And red is attempting a sneaky move. Funny to see that this pikeman is just making all the move very slow. So what is going to be the military composition for yellow? It's going to be halberdiers and war wagons. Well, this game was just an impossible comeback for Barbarian. It suffered too much in the early game. Okay, so it's time to go on green in 1 versus 2. And red is taking its time. Okay, good job Immortal. 2-0. And fortunately we didn't have any crashes this time. Yeah, I agree. Water reason rules are good. Barbarian side. And overall, I would say that Barbarian as a green Korean player managed to survive quite well and offer a great match against Yellow after having been harassed so much in the Feudal Age and early Castle Age. But it wasn't enough. Okay, so back to random versus team random. Okay, so I will just get a pretty small break because I need a coffee. Okay, so if you look at the bracket, let's say that Immortal and Barbarian are probably gonna be the two qualifiers in Group A. So at least we've got Doomsday against Immortal, Barbarian against Snake, which will come later. But regarding their level compared to Doomsday and Snake, we can imagine a 4-0 for each of Barbie and Immortal. So let's say that the match we are watching right now will decide who is gonna be the winner of Group A, and the winner would reach Group B with Odette, while the loser will join Group A with Rehoboom. Rehoboom, we hope that it will have some updates which might fix the bugs which happened in the round 1. So let's say that Rehoboom is another pretty strong AI, and we could have Barbarian against Rehoboom in case Immortal wins the match against Barbie. So Barbarian will have pretty hard games in next round, I think. So I will take a break, 1 minute or two, and I'm back. Alright, I'm back. So here we go. Saracen, Goth and Byzantine. Byzantine being the pocket for Barbarian, and Goth is gonna be the pocket for Immortal. And Teal does have a pretty ugly map, I would say. At least compared to the other players. Well, it's pretty risky to attack the boar with the TC, but it looks like Immortal does it pretty well. Oh, it didn't work this time. Okay, so yellow did lose one boar. That's funny. But it's a shame at the same time. Okay, so as Saracen, it looks like Barbarian will go for a rush. Green did lose one villager on the boar, I guess. That's a bad news. And the second boar is really far from the TC, but I think that Green didn't find the second boar anyway. Yep, not found. Like the two ships. Fortunately, we've got some deers, but not that many. And Teal does have a good collection of ships. Maybe they were found late. Teal being the player having a terrible map. But it could be worse because it's actually the pocket anyway. Okay, I was missing the drush. Let's see. Well, it looks to be a bad game for green, which is pretty late. Okay, so red has Sarazan go for a drush. And it's interesting to compare the two drush. We see that red uses the scout in addition to the militias, while blue doesn't use the scout. Okay, so yellow goes for 2 stables, and we've got 1 stable only for teal. And teal already has wheelbarrow. So let's see the coordination between yellow and red. Green was late, but managed to have a decent army to defend, but probably not against potential knights from yellow. Let's see. Okay, we've got eventually 2 stable for Teal. In 3v3 I think that it's pretty important to have 2 stable as pockets. Okay, so we've got a good move from Blue's archers. That's at least a bunch of villagers dead. Let's say maybe 4. Well, there was a lack of coordination between purple and yellow, but yellow managed to win the battle. For some reasons, the skirmishers from purple were attacking the mill, or at least they were not participating to the battle. Well, Blue's archers are keeping attacking the purple's tower, town. Yep, I'm scared that Blue is already out of the game. Well, it does have a decent civilian population, but the kill ratio is just scary at this point. Okay, with the camels I would say that red is already ready to attack teal. Camels being not ideal against green but perfect against teal. And I wouldn't be surprised if teal is the first being Imperial Age, but first it needs to clean the purple's army. Blue is pretty late, still in Feudal Age. It lost its archers eventually. Well, it was a nice defense from Barbarian here. And despite the harassment, it's interesting to see that Blue managed to save its units, which would have been destroyed against a bunch of elite skirmishers from Purple. Now Teal needs to save Green, but this time it's definitely too late. 7 population for Green and a bunch of camels for Red. At least Teal can win this battle. And Blue is eventually researching Castle Age. Green is dead, Teal is researching Imperial Age, followed by Yellow, Red, and yeah, that's gonna be hard at this point for Barbarian. Let's see what is gonna be the composition for Yellow. It is starting to train some Huskars in one castle, and Red as Saracens goes for camels. Okay, so here we go. Blue is researching pikemen, but it does have almost archers only at this point. We can expect some crossbows. Interesting move from Yellow to LB Purple. I don't know if it looks to be hesitating at this point. Okay, Teal definitely needs those archers from Blue. Okay, we've got some rams coming. We've got the Cavaliers upgrade for Teal, and we've got crossbows for Blue. Oh well, champions for Yellow. As Goss, it makes sense. At least because it does have one castle, a second one which is coming. We can expect some Huskars more than champions later. And Green is trying to rebuild with 21 population, civilian population at this point. At this point I would say that Immortal could just go for some TSA against green. All this micro makes Immortal quite slow in destroying its opponent. Okay, I'm surprised to see that those elite cataphracts won the battle against the camels, and it might be able to win the battle against yellows this time. Look at those sneaky champions. Well, it looks like Immortal is winning 3-0. Hello, cheese on toast. As Pocket did play pretty well. But it's a shame that both of the flanks were dominated. And don't forget that Teal did have a terrible map. Okay, so as I said before, Barbarian lost one match in the Davis Cup history. It was against Maya, and Barbarian lost 1-3. Let's see if Immortal can do better than Maya did with a victory 4-0. That's definitely possible. But first, let's have a look at the statistics. Well, teal and yellow, which were the two pockets, have pretty similar statistics. That's quite interesting. So we've got one game left, the 4v4. So, from what we saw in the first three games, I would say that Immortal did dominate each single game. Maybe the 1v1 looked to be the closest, but I never had the feeling that Barbarian could win, honestly. Okay, so we've got Korean once again, Persian once again, the two civilizations in which were in the 2v2, plus Mongol and Mayan. Mayan pocket for Barbarian, that's pretty interesting. With Mayan I know that as pocket it can go for plume arches and can be quite fast in researching Imperial Age, which can be something great for Barbarian. And other side, the Mayan is gonna be flank for Immortal. I don't know much Immortal, but I think that it does have some pretty interesting specific strategies regarding the civilizations. Maybe we can expect a fast castle plume arches, maybe, even as flank. As pocket Mongol, maybe Maybe a scout rush. That could be interesting. And Barbarian as Persian pocket can be pretty strong with a good crush and a decent interage time. So overall I would say that I like the civilizations for Barbarian as pocket. And yes, in the game before I didn't realize that the boar having been killed by the TC was probably because Immortal was Goth. In fact, it makes sense. And for a change, I would say that none of the players have a terrible map this time. That is a good point. So as usual, Immortal does have a pretty decent feudal age time, which means that it does have a clean Dark Age. And once again green went for a rush, but this time it looks to have targeted purple. Okay, it's doubling purple with teal. That could work maybe, let's see. At least it would be interesting to see. Teal attacking one lumber camp while green attacking the other one. Well, the road is quite long for green. Okay, so market plus blacksmith. Okay. I still don't know what is going to be the strategy for Grey. Okay, interesting. Korean as pocket goes for crossbows. With its micro it definitely can work. And the harassment is already starting with yellow. And okay, it's booming with a bunch of eagles. At least it can work, especially because orange is gonna go crossbows and purple range units. And yellow already did a massacre on green. 14 killed and 4 lose. Green is just trying to defend with a second tower and probably a third tower soon. Oh, the second tower won't be built. Well, I've got some hope for Barbarian in this match, in this game. I think that this strategy from Grey can definitely help Teal. And looking at the civilian population, I would say that the pockets Barbarian side are already having 10 more villagers than pockets from the other side. Red is eventually building a market added to the 2 TCs. Okay, that was too many camels. Okay, so here we go for the eagles. And once again the flanks Immortal side managed to be quite faster than its opponents in researching Castle Age. But here we can maybe see some damage. The move looks good. And chainmail is researched. That might help. Oh, we've got knights which are coming for purple. And purple looks to be untouched by teal at this point. Okay, orange is eventually entering the dance. Purple need orange right now. But I'm scared that this bunch of pikemen won't be that useful regarding the recomposition of its opponents. And Mayan is having 100 civilian population at this point. Green does have its 3 towers as expected. Well, it's a pretty decent Imperial Age time for Grey. It is probably gonna start with Elite Eagles Warriors and maybe go for pre-marches later, I guess. That could work. And purple is just defending with its 3 TCs. It doesn't have any military population. But looking at its skill ratio, it shows that purple is doing great, saving its villagers at time. Okay, so here we go with blue. At least the pikemen from orange are used effectively. We've got +2 defense, +2 attack for the knights. And the Elite Eagles Warriors are in the way to keep pushing purple. And it's interesting to see that orange doesn't have much to defend except this castle, which makes blue quite fuzzy at the moment. Well, yellow, red and orange are gonna be Imperial Age quite soon now. At least orange is already in Imperial Age. And for the first time in this game, Barbarian is taking the lead, but it happened a few seconds only. Well, purple is almost out of the game at this point. Unfortunately, green is really far from researching Imperial Age. I'm scared that it's gonna be too hard against the yellow, which is already having some arbalists. And red is coming. A few Mongo dice are already coming, and at least we can expect some good micro with those Mongo die. Okay, so let's keep pushing with grey. And yellow is also preparing some elite Eagles warriors. Well, not yet, but it's preparing the upgrades. Well, at least blue does have what to counter red and yellow. Well, at this point it's all about red and yellow now, which definitely needs to kill green, but green is well protected by blue. But there is teal and green still in Castle Age. Okay, purple is close to be fully dead at this point. orange managed to survive from grey. That's just amazing. Nice to see that green eventually is researching Kimberlage, but it could be maybe too late. And as expected, we see grey, which is switching for plume archers and halberdiers. Halberdiers could be a good option against orange, but it decides to attack red. That can be an interesting move, red being focused on green actually. But anyway, I think it's definitely a mistake to let orange reboom. It's almost back to be full population. And Immortal is back in this game. This game is turning a 3v3. And purple is trying a fast reboom with 3 villagers. And the score is changing. Immortal is slowly taking the lead. At least grey needs to have the elite plume archers. Okay, so here we go. Teal has eventually an Imperial Age army with elite Mongudai. It's definitely the best game of this match. Pretty intense. And Barbarian is not too far from winning one game, which would be this one. But Immortal stays pretty strong. And I'm really impressed by Orange. Not that many AIs can survive from an elite Eagle's attack. And look at those skirmishers which are just dancing. And slowly, purple is growing. And hallelujah, we've got the elite plume archers. That's a good point to see this green's TC eventually built in a decent position. This game can be quite long, and I think that it's definitely important to see green surviving at this point. It probably can give some helps later in the game. Okay, it looks like Barbarian is eventually winning the south of the map. And blue is just impressive because it stayed a long time in 1 versus 2. But I think that this time orange is gonna be defeated. In fact, we've got teal, which is supporting grey this time. We are still waiting for a real reboom from green, but it looks to never happen clearly. Well, we've got an interesting move from red. And purple is dying for the 3rd time. Well, that's a lot of hussars. Yeah, I definitely like this movement from the hussars. It would be great if, well, it is actually attacking the dread, but at the same time it gives the opportunity for blue to counter-attack yellow for the first time. Red doesn't support yellow anymore. And purple is trying once again to reboom with 2 new TCs. Okay, red goes for champions, maybe to counter the eagles from grey. It would be time for grey to come back to the pre-marches. Okay, let's say that this time orange is just dying officially. And green does have 3 TCs now, which are in a decent position. Well, I'm quite happy for Barbarian, I would say. Maybe I'm talking too fast, but it looks to be a victory for Barbarian. But I keep thinking that it's partly because of the civilization, especially that Mayan Pocket did help a lot Barbarian in that game. And looking at the score as the Mayan player, it looks to be a confirmation, in my opinion. And it's interesting to think that Immortal is not doing better than Maillard did in the Davis Cup 4. This about the Davis Cup history. And Barbarian is losing his second match. Now 3 versus 2. And the trade route looked to be broken at this point. So we noticed that Barbarian does have pretty decent resign rolls. Let's see what about Immortal. Well, I had the feeling that it was a 2 hours game, but for real it's a 1 hour game. It's just because it's in slow speed compared to the other games we used to watch. In fact, speed hack one time the speed makes the game way longer. And how come purple is still alive? That's crazy. Look at this. They are repairing the TC each time they can do it. And we've got a new TC which is coming. Okay, I was thinking that capturage was crashing, but it's not the case, fortunately. Okay, we've got eventually green, which participate to the battle in the long term. Well, and purple is so human, he just doesn't want to resign. Okay, so guys, we've got our score 3-1 for Immortal. That's already a great achievement from TheMaximalBeing. So, let's go for the brackets. Well, maybe you want to see at least the statistic. So here we go for this. No leaf. It already happened with Maya in Davis Cup 4